I first heard about her from an old man outside a diner, who swore her answers came straight from the other side. He leaned in close, eyes glassy, and whispered, "Lady Wonder doesn't just know things, she remembers you." Back in the late 1940s, Richmond, Virginia, had its share of oddities. But nothing no carnival act, no preacher drew crowds like a brown mare in a small pasture on the outskirts of town. Her name was Lady Wonder, and she was famous for spelling out answers by nudging giant tin letters with her nose. They said she predicted boxing match winners, election results, even helped police find missing people. I wasn't much for ghost stories or psychic talk, but curiosity is a hard thing to shake. A friend convinced me to go see her one crisp November afternoon. The air smelled of burning leaves, and the sky hung low and gray, the kind of day that made the world feel smaller. When we pulled up, there was no fanfare, just a sagging wooden fence and a little crowd huddled near the pasture. Lady Wonder stood quietly, her breath misting in the cold air. She was bigger than I expected, her coat glossy, eyes dark and watchful in a way that made me uncomfortable. Her owner, a thin woman in a heavy wool coat, greeted us and explained how it worked. You'd think of a question. Silently, no speaking aloud, and Lady would spell the answer by nudging the letters, one by one. No touching, no cues, no tricks. At least, that's what the woman said. My friend went first. He asked again, only in his head what his mother's maiden name was. Lady began nudging the letter W, then A, then R, until she spelled Warren. My friend just stared at her like he'd swallowed something sharp. I told myself it was coincidence, maybe some unconscious signal in the way he stood, but when it was my turn, I decided to think of something no one could possibly know. The name of the first pet I'd ever had. A little black kitten I'd found behind my childhood home. I hadn't spoken her name in over 20 years. Lady Wonder's ears twitched. She stepped forward and pressed her nose to the M, then I, then T, T-E, M-I-T. I felt my stomach drop. I hadn't written it down, hadn't said it. The woman gave me a polite smile, like she'd seen this reaction 1,000 times. But there was something in Lady's eyes. Not just intelligence. Recognition. When it was over, I couldn't stop thinking about that look. I told myself it was just a horse reacting to movement, tone, posture. But that night, lying in bed, I kept picturing those dark eyes, how they had locked on mine in the moment she spelled out MIT. The dreams started a few nights later. In them, I was standing in the field, but Lady Wonder was closer than she had been in real life. So close I could smell the warm, earthy scent of her coat. She'd lower her head until her muzzle was just inches from my face. Then she would whisper, not in words I could hear, but in thoughts, directly into my mind. Each time I'd wake before I could understand what she was saying, but the feeling stayed with me, heavy, cold, and strangely expectant. I didn't tell anyone about the dreams. I didn't even want to think about them. But about a week later, I got a letter. The envelope was plain, with no return address. Inside was a single piece of paper, folded twice. On it, in neat block letters, was the word "come." That was all. I drove back to Richmond the next day. It was colder now, frost still clinging to the grass when I arrived. The pasture was empty, the gate chained shut. A neighbor told me Lady Wonder had died suddenly, just 2 days earlier. No warning, no illness. I should have left it at that, but something made me walk the fence line, my breath steaming in the still air. I stopped where I'd stood that first afternoon, looking out at the field. The ground there seemed disturbed. A wide patch of dirt, darker than the rest. That night, the dream came again. This time, I could hear her. "Not done," she said. The words didn't sound like speech, they bloomed in my head like a memory I didn't recognize. "You came, you'll finish." I woke up drenched in sweat, heart pounding. On my nightstand, where there had been nothing before, sat one of those tin letters A&M, flecked with rust. I have no idea how it got there. I don't dream about her anymore. But sometimes, when I'm alone, I get the distinct feeling that someone or something is nudging me toward something I haven't yet figured out. And every so often, when I close my eyes, I see that patch of disturbed earth, and I swear, I can hear the faint, metallic clink of letters shifting in the dirt.